of Adjustment. The board was created by the city charter to hear applications for variances from the zoning ordinance requirements and to hear and render decisions on interpretations of the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The board consists of 5 voting members. It requires 4 affirmative votes for approval of any variance or interpretation. All cases on the agenda will be heard in the order listed. The order of proceeding for each case shall be as follows. Applicant shall present his case. Persons in favor of the variance shall present their evidence. Persons opposed to the variance shall present their evidence. The applicant shall be given a rebuttal period. The public hearing will be closed and no further testimony will be accepted. The normal procedure is that the board will discuss and take action on the application. All meetings of the Board of Adjustments are open to the public. Anyone in the audience who thinks for any reason they will speak before the board tonight, please stand and take the oath. Do you so solemnly swear to tell the truth in all matters pertaining to the case before the Board of Adjustment? Please say I do. I do. Okay, thank you, and please be seated. All right. Now, Brian, on this case right here, they were requested another continuance, I take it? Craig DeLong?
Yes, the applicant and the staff request that there
Okay.
be another continuance.
Okay, well, in the case number 19-999-26, Craig DeLong, there's a request for a continuance.
Is that a continuance to the February meeting?
Yes.
February what?
February 20th.
February 20th. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Remove the.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Let's take a vote. Gene Ogle,
I vote yes.
Jack Lehman,
Yeah, I vote yes.
Robert Jones,
Yes.
Roy Brown,
Yes.
Tim Watkins, yeah, I vote yes as well. That case has been continued to February 20th. All right. Next case for tonight is 20-999-01, Johnny Walker, variance request to the accessory building setback, separation, and design appearance requirements for the property at 11201 East 20th Street South. Have we got the slideshow for this one?
Yes, we do. As you can see, here's the applicant's home, and you can see the green colored existing carport that's right there in front of the one-car garage. It's a 2-car structure, sits over the applicant's asphalt driveway. There's 3 code issues that need to be addressed. First, no accessory building may be located closer to the street than the principal building. The second being that accessory buildings shall be separated by a minimum distance of 10 feet from all other accessory and principal structures. And the third being, in all residential districts, the design and construction of an accessory garage, carport, or storage building or shed larger than 120 square feet shall be similar to and compatible with the design and construction of the main building, mainly meaning of similar color. So these are the 3 variances that would need to be considered. We are looking toward the applicant's house here. It's on the corner of 20th and Sterling, so this is the southeast corner of that intersection, looking south toward the front door there, and then rotating over to the southwest, that's across Sterling, and then this is looking down the street in front of the house, looking across Sterling on down the hill to the west, down 20th. This is the northwest corner of 20th and Sterling. This is some neighboring homes to the northeast across the street. Looking east up 20th. And this is the next door neighbor immediately to the east. And as you can see, has a
Similar
Carport.
carport?
carport in the driveway of this home as well. So that completes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. All right. If the applicant would like to come up to the podium and make sure your microphone's adjusted so we can hear you, it's all being recorded for
Okay.
posterity.
Okay. I don't know where to start. First, to start off, the carport has been in its place for 15 years, and I had no complaints. At the time I put it up, I didn't know there was an ordinance on carports. There was a couple other ones in the neighborhood at the time, so I had it put up. It's been there, like I say, for 15 years, and I just got a complaint. The complaint actually came in September, but it didn't say carport, it just said structure. And in the backyard, I have 2 sheds, and one of the sheds was a little too close to the house, so that's what I assumed the thing was at that time. So I removed that shed and everything else, thought that I complied, and then I had to come to court because I wound up getting a notice saying I didn't comply with what they wanted. So when I came to court, I told them I didn't know they were talking about the carport, because that's when it was revealed, no, it's your carport that's in the wrong spot. And so I didn't get a fine or anything like that, because the judge, looked at them, said, how'd he know you didn't tell him? So anyway, we got past that. They explained to me how to go about trying to get a variance to be able to keep the carport there. And so that's the process I've been going through to get to this point. So it's in my opinion, it's an asset to the house. I mean, it's a good structure. It was put up professionally, has the professional anchors that go right through the concrete, 3 foot into the ground. I mean, everything like that's, sound and professionally done. It's not, you can see it's not a homemade jerry-rig looking deal. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason for wanting to have it or having it is that my house is 50 years old. Well, it was built in the 50s, so it's older than that. The garage is very small, and the access to the basement, you have to go through the door in the kitchen into the garage, and then a staircase at the back of the garage. So if you do have a car in there, can get a car in there. If you had to get to the basement, it's a hassle and everything else. So that was one of the first things I did back 16 years ago when I moved there. One of the first things was I widened the driveway a little bit and put the carport up.
Okay.
Sir, I noticed the house, and I went out there today just to make a visual inspection of it, and I noticed next door they have they have a carport there, and myself, I don't see, for one thing, when was this ordinance in effect? This has been 15 years ago. Was it before the change in the ordinance before 05?
The requirement or the violations existed in the previous ordinance as well. So, however, in the eyes of zoning, we didn't consider it under the old ordinance because since there was never a permit, you could never have legal nonconforming status, basically.
Well, could he have the legal non-conforming status?
No, because there was
didn't get a
never
permit.
there's never a permit issued for its construction, so it has no.
I just wanted,
legal
and I'm just
status.
actually did a little more studying this time, and he said in his statement here on, I guess it's number 6 there, and I think we have on our from the staff or number, is it number 5? to me, that would be a hardship. I suppose you could say, well, he didn't know, but to make him tear something down when the neighbor has one right next door, I don't see why he wouldn't. It would be a hardship for him to do that, because not only that, it would also be the cost, and he wouldn't have. So I was just looking at that from my perspective that. That one, I'd say, to me, could be a yes on number 5 where it says no. Now, I probably talked enough, but did you all get anybody that called in and voiced their negative feelings?
I didn't have any reaction, or any call-ins
Okay.
that came subsequent to the letters that he sent.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring that up and let you know my feelings on this particular applicant.
I have a question. Mr. Walker, you put this up 16 years ago, or it was put up
Right at 15 years ago, yeah.
15 years ago,
Yeah,
and you haven't made any changes to it,
no.
and you've never had anybody complain, and nobody from the city's ever come by?
No, I've
And-
never had one complaint, and I actually, when I had to send the letters out, I went through and kind of looked at it. Actually, the carport has been there longer than 17 of the people I had to send letters to. So there's I only have 3 people that were considered I had to send letters to that even still live in that neighborhood. So, I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is all kinds of people has been in that neighborhood and out, and nobody once has ever complained until here, back in September. And I don't know why or who at that time did, but like I say, it's a professionally done, it's professionally anchored. It's been, a good carport, and still is a good carport.
I have a question for staff. I think in all the, about 14 years I've been here, I've never seen a case that was 15 years old in violation come before this body. It's always been something that somebody put it up, a couple of years ago or a year ago, and I'm just wondering, isn't there some sort of a statute of limitations here, a 10-year or something? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, the reason why I came before you, I mean, this began in the codes department with a violation that was a codes enforcement division enforcement, and went to court and went before a judge that made a ruling that basically his judgment was going to be somewhat based upon your acceptance or not of this.
Well, you're saying that somebody filed a complaint against him, is that what you're saying?
Someone filed a complaint to the city,
And then the city went out and checked it out?
and the city went out and checked it out and did a codes enforcement
Okay.
that ended up in.
And just to be clear, the complaint that was made to the city may not have been for the carport, but when a code enforcement officer goes out there, they have to write up every code violation that they find.
Once he's there, he's got to do his job.
Exactly. So just wanted to point that out, that I don't know for sure exactly what the complaints were, but when they go out there,
Well,
they're going to write up.
Something happened to him that caused him to go out,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's correct.
And since the carport is next door and nobody complained about that, nobody went over there and checked that carport out either, okay. All right, I think I see where we're going, okay.
So basically, you had no choice but to come before this body because of what happened in court.
Yeah, because actually the only thing the judge said, because it had been there 15 years, and the people that brought it agreed, yeah, because they looked at the past dates, the satellite photos showing when it wasn't there and when it was, and it roughly was right at 15 years. Well, the judge is kind of like all of us are. It's been there 15 years. Why are we, gonna punish this guy now, so he said, I have to charge you the court costs, but there is no fine, and then he directed the two city people to tell me how to make it right, where this won't ever happen again. So that requires getting the variance. Otherwise, if I don't have a variance, apparently somebody could make a complaint again, and I guess we go through all this again.
I see.
And so that's why I'm asking for,
I don't have any more questions.
Am I correct in that he has to obtain a variance to obtain a permit? And then everything would be legal. Is that correct?
My understanding is that as old as this is and how long it's been installed there, that a permit is not going to be required.
Okay. So
But he needs to.
But he does
But
need
he
the
needs to
variance.
make it legal as far as meeting zoning requirements by waiving those
Yeah.
He
code.
also has to clear himself with the judge. He's gotta go back to court, am I understanding
know.
correctly?
what's that? What-
That you had to get, if you can't get the variance, then you've gotta go back in front of the judge. and then-
No, I don't have to go back in front of his unless somebody was to complain again and I don't have a variance to prove that I've already went through this and got
Okay, then
approval
you have to
for
go
it.
back again.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And Mr. Chairman, we do have quite a few people out here. that like
I see them.
to,
They're lined up, hanging out the door.
Well, you're,
Yeah, I
better
was,
than mine.
I was trying to figure out which one of you filed the complaint on me, because I don't,
That was sarcasm.
yeah, that was sarcasm.
Okay.
Wasn't anybody here, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
Well, I noticed also just, Mr. Walker, number 3, it said, will require strict compliance with the subject zoning regulation constitute a practical difficulty for the subject property owner. And the staff said no, well, and then they say the existing structure could easily be removed. Well, maybe that might be right, but it's going to be a cost involved, and it's going to be, you're going to incur the cost.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't see where that can't be a yes. I mean, that would be, a hindrance to you because it would come out of your pocketbook.
Yeah. I
And
will-
it wouldn't really make it look, to me, it wouldn't make it look that much better because now you've got cover, whereas before you just had a single car garage. So my feeling is that I don't see it as a problem.
yeah.
It's
And-
been there 15 years.
I will admit, and I think I wrote in my original thing that had these questions, legal terminology sometimes is confusing to a regular person. And I was pretty sure, and I wrote at the bottom of it, that some of my answers might have been, I might have misread the question, so I might have answered it wrong and everything. And I wrote that on the back page of the, yeah, from that and then on down. Because, like I say, they were confusing. When I read them, it was like, if I answer that one way, so I was confused, so that
Well,
was,
there's only one lawyer in this room. He's a good one, and he works for the city. None of the rest of ours we don't know anything about that.
rest of us are big.
We're just like you.
Comes to that too, so.
yeah. So, yeah, that's why some of the questions, like I say, I answer them the best of my ability, the way I interpreted, the way I read them, which could have been right or wrong.
So is the carport next door to him? Is this thing legal? Was it permitted? Was it?
I haven't researched it. I don't know how long it's been there. It's not legal because it would have never been approved because of its location. But there was, a complaint hasn't been made against that property. I suppose somebody made a complaint against that property, then codes could go after the neighbor as
And
well,
we'd be doing this again, right? Essentially.
possibly.
Okay.
So,
Driving by there, I didn't even notice this carport, but the other one being white just stood out. I mean, it was just glaring.
Mhm.
And then I turned around and went back, and well, there the other carport is.
Well, maybe it was hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and when I had them put mine up, I had them, it's hard to see, but at the very front, it's actually concreted in and raised up so it sits level instead of tilting with the actual plane of the thing. So I tried to keep all the lines of the house and the carport all symmetrical, so it looked better. The reason it's green is there's actually green shutters on the house, and that was to complement the green
Okay,
shutter.
I got you.
So
Well, then, like you say, with the one, the house next to it, to the east it slopes.
yeah, they followed the
followed
contour
the
of
contour
the
of the
driveway,
driveway.
so their house is sitting this way.
So I can see why you want to do it the way you did it.
Yeah.
That,
Was it already up when you put yours up?
Actually, at the time, mine was put up first. They had theirs put up like 3 months later, and at one time, he had a picture of it, but the house that was across the street, those people had one put up too, but in this time frame, they actually both passed away, and when they passed away, their son came and took it down and took the carport. And there was one more carport in that time frame back then, a little further up the street that was put up. So there basically was 4 carports within a 6-month time in that area that
Okay.
was put up. And
okay.
And Mr. Walker, how common is it for homes, if you know the answer to this, in that neighborhood to have to go into the garage to go down to their basement? Is that more or less unique with your house plan, as far as you know, or?
no, actually, the next door neighbor that has the carport that slopes, like I say, I've been their neighbor for 17 years. So I've been in their house. Their house has the exact same floor plan as mine.
Okay.
So they have the access there, but at some point, they had a guy come in and actually build them a staircase that is inside their house. But for that era, that ranch style, I believe that's a common, where you gotta go through the kitchen. Because that's actually the only way to get to the backyard, is to go into the garage, and the door
I know
to
what
the
you're saying,
backyard
yeah.
is
That
out
was-
the
I
back
think
of
that
the.
was pretty common in houses built
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, back in
late
that-
50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
I think it's very common.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, the garage is so narrow that if you did have a car in there, you can open the door about 2 feet and you're hitting the walls.
Yeah, I know
So-
what you're saying.
Okay.
So it's, and, your home is your biggest investment.
Right.
For me, my car is my second biggest, so I want to try to protect it the best I could. And
Yeah,
that
I
was.
see the reason you did it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Makes sense. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
I don't,
Anybody else have any
Have any other
questions or?
I mean, I read his, on the number 6 there, and I could read it, but I feel like that what you said was, you did a fine job of explaining it, what the deal is here, and I don't see why you should be, well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming up.
Well, if we want to address it, number 1 is the only one we haven't discussed, and that referred to the color. But again, the color on the awning was made to match the color of the shutters, which
Right,
would seem to me that would put that as a yes.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I agree. So,
Okay, well, you can go ahead and have a seat now.
Okay, thank you.
So I know nobody's hiding under any of these benches out here, but we'll ask if there's anyone else who'd like to speak in favor. Not seeing any rush to the front. Anybody here to speak in opposition? Okay. Not seeing anybody there either, so I guess we can go ahead and close the public hearing and have a discussion on this issue.
well, Mr. Chairman, to me, I would put yes on the other 2 items besides that one. I think that he, maybe he didn't get a building permit to make him tear it down. It's been there all those many years. There's not been anybody somebody maybe has an axe to grind against him. The neighbor, I don't know, but nobody else. I just don't see where, to me, we can approve this, this case. Now, that's just my perspective.
Okay? Anybody else?
I think this is a unique case for us. In all the years, like I say, I haven't seen one like this, and I think that this is just a process that we have to go through because of what happened, and
Sure.
and I feel like this is, with all these unique circumstances, that I think we can easily answer all of the 6 review criteria in favor of the applicant. He does, he does have points that, you know, it is difficult to get to the basement when you use the garage, and he wants to protect his car, and I see no problems. I'm willing to make a motion that
Anybody else? No? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the variance requests for case number 20-999-01 as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you, Jack. Gene? Jeez. Okay. Well, I guess we can put this to a vote, gentlemen. Gene Ogle,
I vote yes.
Jack Lehman,
I vote yes.
Robert Jones,
Yes.
Roy Brown,
Yes.
Tim Watkins, and I vote yes as well. The variance for case number 20-999-01 has been approved. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Everybody get a chance to review the minutes from last meeting?
I think so.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I see no problems.
Anybody see anything that needs to be changed or? No? Okay. I'm not hearing any opposition to the minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Nope. Yeah, too bad if they do. Okay. Well, then I guess we can adjourn this meeting.